Hello and welcome by the learning course for SwiftUI. In 2019, Apple ushered in a new era for app developers with the introduction of SwiftUI. This innovative framework changed the way we think about building user interfaces for the entire Apple ecosystem, from the smallest Apple Watch to the Mac and the Apple Vision Pro. What makes SwiftUI revolutionary? The true power of SwiftUI lies in its declarative nature. Whereas developers previously had to program step by step how an interface should be built and modified by using older frameworks like UIKit and AppKit. With SwiftUI, you simply tell it what you want to see on the screen and how it should react to your data. What are the benefits? You learn one set of tools instead of different tools. And you build apps for iOS, iPadOS, macOS, watchOS, tvOS, and the Vision OS. Less code, fewer bugs, and the framework takes a lot of work off your hands. You write less code with the same output. You can immediately see what you have written thanks to the preview. How to set up your product. First, you press Create New Project. Then, most likely, you choose app. Sometimes you choose game or document app, but most of the time you choose app. Then you press next, then you product name is, and the rest of the information is just basic. I don't touch it, so next again. Then you create a folder, new folder, example, create. Move to trash, because I already have a project named example. Then you start with this. There's the preview. See, you can add a couple of things already in the preview. What you want to do next is you want to link your project to GitHub. What GitHub does for you is to store your data to keep it safe if something ever breaks or any other bugs or you lose your code. So you save it on GitHub. You have to push it yourself, but most of the time you push it to GitHub. It is important to have GitHub connected to your account. GitHub is connected to your account via the GitHub website, and you can save your project on GitHub publicly or privately, depends on what you need. So you go to GitHub, you log in, you press on your profile, go to settings, scroll all the way down and go to developer settings. In developer settings, you go to personal access token, token classics, generate new token classic, you name it something like test or test 1 or depends. The expiration is the expiration date the token will expire. Seems logical. It is like in a week, May 15th, so you can't use the token anymore. But if I'm connected to the token, it will stay active. So I will say in 7 days. Then I will check every checkbox, because GitHub can do anything, or I can use every feature GitHub provides. Then I'll press generate token, and then your token is generated. You copy this one, go to Xcode again, press on Xcode in the top left, then settings, then in source control, normally it's in general, but in source control you add account, press GitHub, press continue, add your account name, and then enter your token. It's validating my account. Then I'm done. If you make any changes, I don't know if it's gonna work this time, but you press here on create. Yeah, I already got something called example, but you press on create and you create a new folder. And then the next time you press integrate, you press on push. If you press on push, all your changes will push to GitHub. Then it has created a push. Or first you press commit, after you pressed commit and you press push, then all your changes get pushed to GitHub. If you want to retrieve them, you can push or press pull, and then it will take them automatically from GitHub. You only have to select your right version. So you have to add a name and maybe description in the push or commit to GitHub if you want to remember what you chose. But in this example I can show you because there's already a name called example, unfortunately. How to set up your project. That will be a little bit confusing at first because maybe you don't need anything or want anything, but there is a way to set up your project normally to help you find files more easily. So this is the folder for the app. Then we have a couple of files that Apple created already. I will now create a couple new folders named core, named modules, named domain, if that ever that doesn't have to be below each other. New folder. There it is. Named data. Named resources. Named supporting files, preferably with no spaces in between, and one last folder with managers. Then we can build our app from here. We can make more folders if we want to. So in core, for example, we can add more folders like extensions, like utilities, like networking, and storage. There are a couple more. So in modules, for example, you can add home and then your view model and service. And beneath home, you can put profile settings and authenticator as well. In domain, you can add models and user cases and protocols. Data, you can add API, application programming interface, repositories and DTOs, data transfer objects. In resources, you can add the assets.xassets. So these one resources, and in supporting files you can add info.plist. That will be implemented later, but that's for translating your app. So we have a minimum deployment for the app. In your main app, you can see here minimum deployment. The latest version as of now, 8th of May 2026, is iOS 26.4.2, and we're here on iOS 2. My iPhone is still on iOS 18.7, so I'll choose iOS 18 so that the minimum deployment is iOS 18. That means that everyone with iOS 18 or higher can use the app. With iOS 17 can't use the app. You can choose till 15, so there's a lot of in between. You can add conditions as well if you want, but so just to be sure, I'll set it on 18, so my iPhone, if I'm still not updated when the app is done, can use the app. Then we have identity. The identity of the app is the specifications for the technical identification. Unique identifiers, package names, and cryptographic signature. So, identity, and the app can be anything that you want from this list. The last app I've built is productivity. So I will use productivity. The display name is the name on your iPhone. So, for example, the app built for YouTube is YouTube. For this is example. You need a version and a build number if you want to publish your app to the iPhone or App Store or anything. Then we have deployment info, and deployment info is how the app should function. So portrait is your iPhone the way you used to. Landscape left and landscape right is your iPhone or iPad or anything rotated. So if you rotate your phone clockwise or counterclockwise, the app will rotate with your iPhone. You can turn them on and off, whatever you like. You can even choose upside down. The last thing is localization. In example or your app name or whatever, you go to the files. We already filled this out. So you can localize your app. This means that you can auto-translate your text in the app. To set this up, you go to the app name, the top of the hierarchy, then you go targets, then your app name again, then you go to info, then you go to the custom ID iOS target properties. Then there's somewhere called default localization, and you type in localizations. Then you add localizations. Then you get into project. Then you have here your localizations. You can add a new one. Here an example info.plist got added, so you can set that into supporting files. And here you can add other things called Dutch, German, France or French. Then into localizations you can add items. So you can add file from template, then you filter on string file legacy, and you click next. Then you leave it as is, as localizable.strings. You press enter, and this is your localized strings. Then you add the sidebar. It's very useful for a couple of things, but we don't use it. I don't use it normally, but for localized strings it's useful. And then I just add all the languages I've chosen, and all the languages here are the languages for your localizable string files. I will make a separate video about this. Oh, someone is dying. But I will make a separate video about this later. So here you press all the languages needed. For example, if I add something called Danish in here, that's my main file, and I press finish, and then it adds Danish automatically. But how we will use this, I will make a separate video about this. For now, thank you for watching. This was the first episode. In the next episode, we will take a look at text view. So that's our first real lesson. This is just to set up the project and what you need. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Leave a like and subscribe, of course, to don't miss any more videos in the future. Thank you very much.